The Fields Auto Group proudly presents Huddle Up, Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, J.P. Shadrick, John Oehser, and NFL Network analyst and former Jaguar Bucky Brooks bring you the latest on your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everything's got to be about the future. It's got to be about tomorrow and bringing all that into focus as we, attack the season.
Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks starts right now.
And welcome in. It's Wednesday. It's Week 15. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, J.P. Shadrick, John Oehser alongside. Busy program ahead. Of course, we'll hear from NFL Network analyst Bucky Brooks. His thoughts on the Jaguars win last week and the game coming up against the 10-3 Cowboys. John Oehser, senior writer. Boy, does he have some thoughts. We'll get to those coming up. A preview of this matchup. Meaningful game in December for the Jaguars at home. We'll take a look at the AFC playoff picture as well. The Jaguars are in the hunt. There's still a lot of hunt left to go. We'll find out how much in the hunt they still are after Sunday coming up. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. Step up to luxury, fieldsauto.com. Let's start today with head coach Doug Pederson. Well, it's Week 15, and from Week 1 to now, where are they as a team? Does he like where they are?
As you said, wins and losses are different, but where the team is mentally at this time of the year, where the team is physically this time of the year, where the team is, I think, from a health standpoint this time of year, all those things are pluses for us. And one of the things that I think for me is just, this group, the way we practice during the week, the way they practice, I should say, during the week, how they prepare and get themselves ready to play. That's what you want to see as a head coach, right? Is guys aren't shutting down. Guys are, the games even we've lost, we're into the fourth quarter and playing hard to the end. And guys are disappointed when that happens. And so for me, I like where our, I guess the mental side of things are at, with this football team right now.
That's Doug Pederson earlier today. The full press conference available on Jaguars.com and Jaguars social media. The quarterback spoke after practice today. You can hear that full press conference as well. We'll hear from Trevor Lawrence coming up. John Oehser and Bucky Brooks with us now. Bucky, good afternoon. How are you? What's up? Here we are, Week 15.
I'm good, guys. What's going on?
Meaningful football. That's what's going on. How about that in December?
I like that. I like the fact that we are having meaningful games. I like the fact that Doug appears to be very positive about everything. I like the fact that my quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, has a little edge, a little spice to him, listening to everything. I like it all. I like everything that's going on right now.
Well, it's his team now. And if you didn't know it already, you knew it. Body language, behavior, the whole motion thing the other day, he's showing some moxie, and I thought he was his quote and his availability was pretty good. Somebody asked him, "Well, you doing that because of this?" And when you're having some success, and he goes, "Well, you don't look like a moron when you're doing it and you're losing. You can't do it." So, but it all just sort of feels like it's going in the right direction, and he's turning into the guy that the Jaguars fans hoped he would be before our eyes every week. And I don't know that Monday. I'm not sure Sunday was a breakout game. I thought the Ravens was a breakout game, but I thought Sunday was easily the best game of his career. Duh.
Yeah, no, I think it was the best game of his career, just in terms of like the way that it felt, like being on the sideline and just feeling his energy and feeling the way that he was in command of it, and also feeling the way the team responded to him. Trevor was not only in his bag, he was throwing it all over the yard. We saw him have a 300-yard game. He had 3 touchdowns, completed 30 or 42. All of those things were great, but it was the way that it felt. It felt like he was special. It felt like he was the best player on the field. And a couple years ago, when he was taken number 1 overall, that's what you're hoping to get. You're hoping to get a player that gives you not only that optimism and hope, but he gives you the opportunity to have the best guy on the field on your team, and you put the ball in his hands, and he makes it happen. Trevor Lawrence did that, and he's done it really the last 5 or so games where you've seen him play at a high level, and you felt like his game is kicked up a notch as he really settled into this offense under Doug Pederson.
I have an early question for the analyst.
Oh, getting it in early today.
Well,
like that.
I've heard a lot of things from fans this week. Some about, hey, you're overhyping them too early. This is a team that's 5-8. This is a team that's only in the playoff race because of X, Y, and Z. But I maintain, Bucky, in the last 5 weeks, they're 3-2 with the Raiders are up and down, but the Raiders won 3 games during these last 5 weeks. They've beaten the Ravens and the Titans. How well is this team playing? And I know they lost to the Lions, but over the rest of the NFL, this team's starting to play pretty good. I don't think this is a fluke, I guess is what I'm getting at.
No, I don't think the way that Trevor's playing is a fluke. I think the team has been up and down, and I think you want more from like the defense for this team to be legitimately considered amongst one of the up-and-comers, a team that has serious playoff aspirations. But the quarterback gives you a chance, because what the quarterback can do is he can mask a lot of your flaws with the way that he plays and the way the offense operates. Meaning if the offense is putting up 30-plus points on defense, you can just hope to get a stop or two and you can win games. Because really, let's be honest, the game against the Titans, they had a tough time slowing down Derrick Henry until the offense got going and Shaquille Quarterman eventually caught Derrick Henry, hit him, and the game changed. And so I feel like this team is coming, but it won't be, I guess, like people won't believe in the team until they knock off a team that is better than them and start putting together back-to-back wins. And so this week against the Cowboys gives them opportunity to check off both of those boxes. Cowboys are a top team in the NFC. Cowboys are coming into their place, and it's going to be a lot of Cowboy fans in attendance. If the Jaguars can knock off the Cowboys in their building, then it kind of changes the narrative, and the respect begins to go to the team in terms of their ability and potential to make the playoffs.
Bucky, I've got a question for the analyst as well, John, early in the show. How do the Jaguars run the football better, more effectively, more consistently? Is it just the way games have gone lately, or is there more to it?
There's more to it. You got to be able to push the people off the ball. The Tennessee Titans up front were stout. You have Jeffrey Simmons and some of those other guys up front. They're not easy to move off the ball. And so it takes a commitment to kind of grinding it out, being a more ground and pound team to be able to do it. And it also takes a runner that, multiple runners that kind of have some size to them, that can kind of lean on the defense and kind of wear them down over time. That said, I think Travis Etienne can be effective. And I think the number one thing that you want to see is the amount of carries that or rush attempts that the Jaguars have. If you get the rushing attempts over 25 to 30, at least it shows a commitment. It makes the defense continue to honor the run, and then you're able to throw it. But hopefully this team can win a variety of different ways. It's not always throwing it all over the yard. They're not always ground and pound. They have a nice, happy medium where if the quarterback needs to step in and throw it, they can do it. If you need Travis Etienne to make big plays on the ground, he can do it as well.
But isn't that a big thing in this discussion, Bucky? Something you said during your last answer. In this offense especially, in the NFL overall right now, but especially in this offense, it's the threat of the run is as important as actually running. And it seemed to me they ran enough the other day, 25 carries I think it was. It seemed to me the Titans continued to believe that the Jaguars were going to try to run, and they had to play defense to honor it. And in Doug's system, I'm not sure he's that worried week to week. If he walks out and they've got 60 yards rushing, if they have 368 yards passing, I don't think he's that worried about it.
No, I don't think he's that worried about it, because I think he still views the game running it through the quarterback. As a true West Coast disciple, the running game is secondary to being able to throw it. In a perfect world, what you would like to do is throw the ball early to get the lead, and then in the second half, you accumulate your rushing yards as you're beginning to run out the clock. And so the Jaguars have kind of operated under that premise when they've been able to play very, very well at the beginning. Trevor Lawrence comes out, throws it, they get on the board, they're operating efficiently and effectively, and then you begin to see the running game become a factor in the second half. So there are a couple different ways to skin the cat. In a perfect world, you would like, in Jacksonville, you would like Trevor Lawrence to kind of do the heavy lifting, and then Travis Etienne come and finish it off late.
Bucky Brooks with us. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on a Wednesday. Jaguars defense now. There were some changes in some guys moving around on defense last week. So Trayvon Walker had his hand on the ground a good bit. He's on the injury report, or will be. Had a boot walking around an open locker room today. with a high ankle injury, as Doug Pederson called it. But he was pretty effective in that spot for this defense. And then Darius Williams playing outside at corner. Two big changes last week. Yes, it's a running attack, Tennessee, all that, but those are notable changes. We'll see what happens, if Trayvon's not available, moving ahead. What do they do up front? This is a Dallas team. We'll get to Dallas coming up, but what did you make of those changes last week and then Devin Lloyd back in the lineup as well?
I think what you're trying to do is you're trying to put the players in the best position for them to make plays. Darius Williams and some of the guys in the secondary has struggled in their previous spots. And so you Mike Caldwell, you Doug Pederson, you're trying to do two things. One, you're trying to find a scheme and a set of coverages that work for the team. What works? We want to take away the big plays. How can we give ourselves a chance to eliminate some of the big plays that were really hurting us? Two, what personnel fits in the way that we want to play? So if we're going to play this umbrella style of defense where we don't give up big plays, we play more zone, more eyes on the quarterback, who are the best guys that can see it, rally to the ball, and then make tackles in space? I believe Dewey was going to have a big game regardless of whether he started or if he was playing nickel, because he's one of the smartest players on the defense. He's one of the best tacklers, and he's proven to be a little bit of a playmaker. The final thing, you talked about Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd had to play in place of Chad Muma. I think they're still trying to find the right spot for him. And it's unfair for everyone to kind of criticize Devin Lloyd for his play as an off-the-ball linebacker when he didn't really play that spot in college. He was more on the edge as a pass-rushing presence who did some other stuff as opposed to being your stand-up linebacker that plays the traditional linebacker role. And so he's learning beyond what most rookies would have to learn and adjust to as a pro at the position. And so in time, he'll make plays. And I think this was an opportunity to kind of put him in a position where he can make plays, even though he's still trying to work through some of the struggles that he's had his rookie season.
Yeah, the zone right now makes a lot of sense to me because I don't think, no matter how you line these guys up right now, I don't think they're going to be a dominant defense. Zone gives you the chance to face the quarterback and get some interceptions if things don't go right for the offense. I particularly think zone makes sense this week because Dallas struggled against it last week. So, But to me, this defense right now, I think it's going to give up 350 yards a game and hope to keep it around that level and hope that you can supplement that with 2 turnovers a game. I think if they get two turnovers a game, they have a shot. I think you've got to break serve a couple times against Dallas, and I said this multiple times this week. What you don't want this week if you're a Jags fan is to see a defender on the ground hitting the ground because he just missed an interception. And I say that a lot, but some games you can win without doing that. But if they have a shot at the ball, they need to catch it because Dak will throw you a couple this year. Mm-hmm. They need to take advantage of their moments because I think they are outmanned. If they take advantage of their moments defensively, I think Trevor can get him enough points to win the game.
Yeah, that's a really good observation, John. You talked about what the Houston Texans did to slow down the Cowboys. They played more zone. They didn't play their traditional 2-deep zone. They did a little bit of everything, kept the ball in front, made them drive the ball the length of the field, dared Dak Prescott to be very disciplined and detailed when it came to how he approached the game. The Jaguars, and talking to Coach Pederson off air, he's talked about, man, sometimes you have to figure out what your team is, and sometimes you do have to be a little more bend but don't break. Focus your efforts on being great in the red zone and seeing if you can make people kick field goals as opposed to score touchdowns. But the one thing that was undermining their chances of winning were giving up the big plays, the explosive 50-yard pass plays, the big runs, and those things. Cut some of that off and make people score it on 10-plus play drives. The odds suggest that they'll mess it up. And so I would expect to see the Jaguars play more zone. I would expect to see them try and force Dak Prescott to take a lot of checkdowns and see if they can beat the receivers and pass catchers up, make them kind of take their time to score points as opposed to giving up the big plays, the quick strikes.
Another way to break serve, as John would say, is they almost did it last week. In fact, they did it. It was called back with a holding. It was a kickoff return touchdown, something we haven't seen this year. But Jamal Agnew certainly has that ability, and that can flip the game in a heartbeat, certainly in a game like this against the Dallas Cowboys. And the Cowboys-Jaguars game is presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. Visit us at rbafla.com. And there's no better time than right now to become a Daily's Place Blue member. Enjoy the best live music around with access to the best seats and amenities, premium parking, and more. Reserve your spot for the 2023 season now. For more, email ticketing@boldevents.com or call 904-633-2000. We'll return with a deep dive into the Dallas Cowboys. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on the Jaguars Digital Network.
You can step up to luxury now.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. Whatever you're driving, you can step up to luxury now. Plus, get our Fields amenities, which include complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes.
Make this your year to step up to luxury at Fields Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Land Rover, Jaguar, and Lexus. When it comes to the ultimate car buying experience, there's only one name that matters: Fields. And Fields matters because you matter. The Fields Auto Group, proud partners of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gates frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
Welcome back. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks. It's Wednesday. It is Week 15. The Cowboys and the Jaguars coming up. JP Shadrick with John Ogier and NFL Network and Jaguars radio field analyst Bucky Brooks from Los Angeles. Well, let's take a look at the Dallas Cowboys and the Jaguars series history. This will only be the second time the Cowboys have come to Jacksonville to play a game. The last time these teams met as a Jaguars home game was in London back in 2014. Of course, the Jaguars dropped that ball game, but they did win the game back in 2006. It was week 1 of that season. Cowboys lead it all time 4-3, and they've won back-to-back meetings in the head-to-head series. Of course, every 4 years or so they'll meet in alternating places. This is a Cowboys team. It's 10-3. Bucky, overall, before we dig into the individual players, where is this team and compared to maybe some of the other ones in the past, and can they make a run? Are they going to be a playoff run Cowboys team? It's been a minute since they've been to the Promised Land.
Yeah, it's been a long time since they've been to the Promised Land. This is a team that's good. I think they've had obviously better teams of late. This team has kind of found their identity and rhythm and kind of raced out to a 9-3, 10-3 start. The big thing when you're looking at the Dallas Cowboys is understanding who are the explosive playmakers. The most explosive playmakers on offense: CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard. Those are the guys that kind of make it go. Then Ezekiel Elliott kind of beats you up as the runner between the tackles, and Michael Gallup can make some plays on the backside away from CeeDee Lamb. This is a team that is a little more connected dots than explosive. In the past, they had a bunch of explosive players that can hit you with big plays and those things. This is one where they drive the length of the field a little more. They're a little more conservative in how they play, and they're winning really because their defense is loaded with star players. Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and all those guys. The defense sets the table either with stops or generating takeaways, and then the offense cashes it in by being able to take advantage of short fields.
I asked this question of somebody today because I don't know the answer, so I ask questions. How do you trip these guys up? Meaning, it seems on paper that Dallas is really, really good and a complete matchup disadvantage everywhere. They have so many stars, but people are beating them. I'm assuming you stop the run and make Prescott make mistakes.
Well, I mean, I think that's the recipe. I think it's changed because it used to be all about stopping Ezekiel Elliott, but then you got to factor Tony Pollard into the mix. You got to keep your eyes on where 20 and 21 are at all times. You take those guys away and make Dak Prescott make plays, in the passing game, and properly you jam the middle of the field and make him throw it outside the numbers. Make him make the low completion percentage throw, and see if you can rally, tackle, force them off the field that way. The other thing that you have to do when you're facing the Cowboys on the offense, you got to run it right at them. This is a team full of what I call track stars. They want to put their hand in the dirt. They want to come off. They want to hunt the quarterback, and they don't really want to deal with the physicality of dealing with the running game. When you've seen teams commit to running the football at them, they've been able to not only control the clock, but they've been able to have success. And so the Jaguars have to kind of look at what the Cowboys have, but they're certainly vulnerable in some areas where you can attack and you can make it a game that you can swipe at home.
Early in the game, I mean, it feels to me like this is one where the Jaguars need to score touchdowns early, and it's always good to score touchdowns early.
Well,
JP.
how about that? Imagine that.
But if they're in the red zone early, and it's close, I see Doug going for it a couple of times on a fourth down to get touchdowns rather than field goals.
Sure.
I don't think you want to trail this team because they're in their pass rush. Again, Jags done a good job overcoming deficits. I wrote this week, I think it's been the last 3 wins they've overcome deficits to win. I don't think this is a team that you want to get down against, Buck.
No, you don't want to play from behind. And the reason why you don't want to play from behind is the last thing you want is Michael Parsons knowing that it's an obvious passing down and he is able to kind of get in that track stance and go hunt the quarterback. Whether he's going to hunt it off the edge or whether he's doing it from a second level position at linebacker, you don't want him to kind of have free reign to go and attack the quarterback without worrying about the threat of the run. And so that's why it's important that if you're Doug Pederson, you call the game early to keep yourself in the game, to keep yourself within striking distance so you can try and have a level of balance that makes the other team think. And so you cannot get into the, hey, I'm going to go nit for knack, I'm going to go toe-to-toe with Dak Prescott. This has to be one where we're going to stick to the script, we're going to stay within the game plan, we're going to trust the process that we kind of each have come on, and then we're going to see what it looks like at the end of it.
They are second in the league in sacks as a defense as a whole. Yeah, you saw right there. Of course, Parsons leads the way, 12 of them on the year, but they've got a few different guys that contribute as well. Armstrong, Lawrence, you mentioned those defensive ends. Hey, it's Dante Fowler Jr. Hey, Dante. He's on the list with 5 this year. He's still running around. So they get after it, Bucky. You don't want to be in that situation where you got to throw it all day.
No, you don't want to be in that situation. This is a team that they're notorious for hunting the quarterback, but not only do they hunt him, but, man, they get him, and when they get him, they punish him. And so it's a physical football team. It's a team that's really bought into what Dan Quinn is preaching. They don't give up many big plays. They're doing a better job of getting close on the perimeter. And then it's just about being able to kind of own the line of scrimmage and kind of beat you up at the point of attack. And so we'll see. This is a tough task for the Cowboys, a tough task for the Jaguars, because it's just a little different. The Cowboys aren't a true 100% ground and pound team. They got some other stuff to them, but you got to be able to stop the run. You have any chance to put it on the other guys.
Bucky, I think you said it right the first time. This is a tough task for the Cowboys this week. That's right. They're coming into TIA.
Coming across, yeah.
That's what happens when you're the team's getting better, right? Jaguars have some confidence now, and hey, you got to come defend your home turf against good football teams. That's how it works, Buck.
That is how it works, and the Jaguars need to win this because I'm hoping that it's a home game. I'm hoping it's not a blowout in the bank. So hopefully they can limit some of those Cowboys tickets. Some of the guys are coming in the jerseys and all that, making it feel like Dak Prescott is at home, and you can have a real advantage. But outside of that, you have to be mature enough to play and win in these games. People going to spend the entire time talking about how good Trevor is, how good they were last week and those things. But now, can you take that and can you build upon it? And for Trevor, can you continue to build upon the last 5 or 6 weeks that you put up? Because if you can, a lot of good things going to come that way.
I like
a lot of good things will come Jaguars' way.
That would be nice for sure. He is the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, and if he keeps going up from there, that's great news down the stretch. We're back in a moment with some social media questions, and this is Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on the Jaguars Digital Network.
you can step up to luxury now.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. Whatever you're driving, you can step up to luxury now. Plus, get our Fields amenities, which include complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes.
Make this your year to step up to luxury at Fields Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Land Rover, Jaguar, and Lexus. When it comes to the ultimate car buying experience, there's only one name that matters: Fields. And Fields matters because you matter. The Fields Auto Group, proud partners of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
At Five Star Credit Union, you inspire them to go the extra mile to meet your financial needs. That's why they offer Jaguars fans more banking options like better rates and no hidden fees. Their team is also dedicated to making the communities they serve stronger, volunteering their time and talents while donating millions to local nonprofits. Five Star Credit Union, FiveStarCU.org. Go Jags!
Situationally, we talk a lot about obviously third down, red zone, different stuff like that. And then you have a plan, to start each game, kind of which direction you're going to head the first few plays. So obviously you know that, but then third down, red zone, you're on the same page. We have our ideas of what we like, and we talk about kind of the order we want. Obviously that can change based on the situation, so I can anticipate those. But as the game goes, I think more so we have a huge menu of plays to run, so it's not like I always know what he's calling, but we're always on the same page in the situation and just the way we communicate. Whatever situation is, hey, this is an opportunity to take a shot, or let's be smart, let's take a completion, keep the chains moving. Whatever it is, he does a good job of kind of reminding me of some of those things, and now as it's gone more and more, he doesn't have to as much because we're on the same page.
That's the quarterback, of course, Trevor Lawrence, earlier today. The full press conference available on Jaguars.com and Jags social media, and really good conversation also about that London game being maybe a turning point for him. There was a conversation, Doug Pederson was on the Rich Eisen show that was out on social media, and Trevor Lawrence asked about that today, so check it out. The 78th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl returns to TIAA Bank Field December 30th. The 21st ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish face off against the 19th ranked South Carolina Gamecocks. For more, visit TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. Bucky, who do you like in the Gator Bowl?
Ball. I like the swag. I like all that. I like the fact that Shane Beamer's going to come. He's going to put his little glasses on. He's going to do his little stuff. He's going to do his little crazy stuff and bounce around and do all his little hip stuff and do all that stuff that they do with the Gamecocks. So, yeah, I'm Beamer balled out. I'm going for South Carolina. I got South Carolina in this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Beamer ball too, by the way. My son Jacob is a huge South Carolina fan. I don't know why. He attached to him. So I watch very little college football. I've watched 3 or 4 South Carolina games this year. They're a fun team.
They're fun to watch. I think they got better as it went on, too, by the way.
Oh,
they got good.
Last couple of games, they got legit good.
Yeah, and Notre Dame was right there, too. Both teams 8-4, so great matchup in the Gator Bowl, so check it out. What do you make of that? Before we get to social media questions, Bucky, Trevor today was talking about that London game and the play at the goal line. Yeah, it kind of stuck in him. And since that point, I mean, the guy has been almost lights out. 11 total touchdowns, 10 through the air, no interceptions. He's been a different guy since then.
Yeah, he has been a different guy. And you go on and listen to the presser, you talked about letting the team down and the feeling that he felt in the locker room and how there might have been some sideways looks where he was trying to do too much and the turnover was just an egregious error where he's trying to play hero ball, and how he learned from that. And while he was learning from that, how he's taken note of all the voices and all the talk and the scribes and everyone that's written about him and talked about him being maybe a bust and not being up to par. He might even have listened in on some of our post-game things when he's driving home, JP, and heard some of the guys talk about playing C.J. Beathard and who's the next coming. And so he's taken that all in, and it's become a very personal deal for him. And so some of the swag and some of the stuff that we're seeing is Trevor Lawrence turning the corner, but also remembering how many people doubted him? Because I would say this. It's probably the first time he's ever been doubted in his life, in his quarterbacking life, where people didn't believe that he was going to be a great player. And so for him to kind of work through some of this adversity and maybe come through it on the other side, he absolutely is ready to go next level. And he may let his critics know a little bit while he's doing it.
For the record, those were callers. That wasn't us, Bucky. For the record.
Bucky was calling for CJ?
I don't.
He's a CJ guy?
I'm not speaking for Bucky.
I've had my flag firmly planted in the number 16 soil. So no, I don't worry about CJ Beathard or anybody else that they were talking about. However, there had been some callers that were saying maybe he needs to sit down and maybe we're protecting him in those things. And so I'm glad that he's turned it. But now we want to see him go even next level. We want to see him go from being like a good player to now we're going to talk about being a star quality player. Because when you get a star quality player at quarterback, it changes the fortunes of the franchise.
I mean, but it's not like there weren't reasons why people were upset. I mean, overall, the course of this season, I think a lot of the Trevor naysayers, when you really look at the big picture of the season, it seems kind of ridiculous. There was really one bad game in Philly in the rain, and there were two really bad interceptions. Outside of that, if you couldn't see arrow up on the guy, then you were sort of blind. But in the last 5 weeks, since that Denver game, it's unusual, and I'm writing about it for quick thoughts and a couple other spots for tomorrow's website. It's unusual for there to be such a moment where it kind of comes on, and I think he was improving anyway, but I think that moment in Denver really drove home, I don't have to do it all. And in this league, turnovers really matter. I don't know if it had been beaten into him over the course of his life, because he had always played in situations where, okay, he throws a red zone pick. Okay, I'll just throw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
because
we'll be back in there 5 more times today.
Yeah, because I'm good.
Yeah.
And my talent, wasn't saying this to himself, but you feel it. I'm so good that I can make up for a mistake. In the NFL, that's hard. It's a lot harder to make up for a costly red zone error, because all of a sudden, if you do it in the NFL, you've got to go make up for that twice. You've got to go down and get a touchdown to make up for it, and then get another score, and these games run out quick. So very interesting that one moment has caused such a turning point, but I think we know now that it did.
Yeah, I think the other thing we have to think about is this might be the first time in Trevor Lawrence's football life that he's playing on a team that is a quote-unquote underdog. You have to remember, when he was in high school, he played on a team that always won. He goes to Clemson. He inherits a team that had been to the national title not too long ago, and then they go and win another one. So he has always had a wealth of weapons around him. So maybe you can be a little more careless when you know your team is better and you know that you're going to get the ball back and prime opportunities to score. Well, now you're talking about a Jaguar team where every point matters. Every possession matters, because you don't necessarily have a level playing field when it comes to the talent. And so there's a different mentality that you have to have when you have a team like that, and you don't have the margin for error that maybe he operated under when he had his high school team and then his collegiate team. And so it's Trevor Lawrence learning, but I also believe it's him adapting and really beginning to understand what Doug Pederson wants from him as the director of the offense, and how Doug Pederson has built the offense and the play calls around what Trevor Lawrence does well.
All right, let's get to a couple social media questions quickly. We put out the cat signal earlier today. Here's the best we came up with, Bucky, right here. This is at Tony B's Henchman. I guess that's Tony Baselli. Why can't this defense stop passes to running backs out of the backfield? It seems like every week we give up a big play to a check down. You notice that, Buck?
Well, I don't know if I noticed you give it to a check down, but I think you got to pick your poison in terms of what you're trying to stop. For so long, this team cannot stop anybody from pushing it down the field, man-to-man or zone. And so then you make a concerted effort to stop the deep ball. Hey, make him throw the check down, we'll rally and tackle. And then it takes some time to adjust to the angles of the tackles that you have to make on running backs. And I think people have to understand that when you're a zone team, you have to live in zone. You have to practice a lot in zone so your guys can master the angles when it comes to pursuit and coming up and tackling the check down and all those things. If you're a team like the Jaguars were, where you're mixing in man and zone and those things, you do a lot, but you never really settle in and get great at anything. And so I think what you've seen is the simplification of the scheme to allow guys to get better by just constantly repping it. And through repetition, you begin to gain the experience and the expertise to be able to execute it at a high level.
Yeah, I think the reality is they're going to give up some things in this defense. And you'd rather give a check down than a long pass. I think you would hope that that's what they're seeing now, or that's what we're seeing from them now. I think you'll give us some check downs to avoid giving up that over-the-top shot.
One more social media question today from Twitter, and it's still on defense at Dylan_Kiernan. Can 31 be the answer at outside corner opposite 32? Could 44 play the big end role in a 4-3, get 41 back in the role he shined as a rookie, and get our three talented linebackers on the field together? 33 fits the will profile better than middle linebacker. Fit the scheme to the players, not the other way around.
How many tweets did that take? 4 or 5?
A while. I don't know how many characters that is, but it might have been the maximum, Bucky. That's a lot, but I think we touched on this earlier. 31 being Darius Williams outside, 44 being, of course, Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, so let me process this because this is like a big old word problem. I'm trying to make sure I get everything answered. I don't know if 31 can necessarily be the answer at outside corner long term, but I think you can play him outside if it's a zone team, because when I look at Darius Williams and I think about some of the cover two and some of the basic zones, he certainly can keep the ball from flying over his head outside. He doesn't have to match up and play man-to-man. In terms of Trayvon Walker playing the big end role in the 43, yes, I think that makes a huge difference. I think him being a base 10, meaning he goes to the run-heavy side, he deals with stacking tight ends and owning the line of scrimmage. He can do that. And 41 being on the weak side, being able to take on the quick tackle or one-on-ones on the left tackle, I think that works for him. Devin Lloyd playing will linebacker, yeah, it's a better profile than Mike linebacker because he doesn't have all the responsibilities. It's the playmaking position in most defenses. And so you put him there where he can see ball, get ball, make plays. Devin Lloyd's going to have more success. And so what you have, though, like in listing off that, you see the dilemma that Mike Caldwell has, because some of his personnel is better suited to be in a base defense where the league is saying, no, you have to play nickel defense because we got 3 wide receivers on the field. Do you want to line up and say, hey, we're going to do what we do and not worry about matching up to the personnel? Or are you a matchup team that, 11 personnel trots on the field? I want to make sure I have my nickel package. Those are some of the things that Mike Caldwell and the coaching staff has to work through.
Yeah, and it really feels like they're sort of stuck in that for the last 4 or 5 games. I mean, you love having Muma, Lloyd, Luakon, Allen, Trayvon on the field. Are there nickel packages, though, Bucky, where all 5 of those guys are playing? I mean, I don't necessarily know that there are. But you sure want Josh Allen on the field, and Devin Lloyd sure has ball instincts that you like him around the ball. So I think there's a lot to look at on those fronts in the offseason, and I think you're just – I would say piecemeal. They did a good job the other day, but I think you're just sort of trying to figure out what might work for these last 4 to 8 games. Huh?
I like that, John.
Like that.
Yes,
I like
the
that.
optimism.
I like that.
Absolutely. We're back in a moment. Thank you for the social media questions today, by the way. Back in a moment with the playoff picture and our final thoughts. Are you ready to join the Jaguars? Well, 2023 season ticket deposits are now open. Secure your place in line to select the best seats at the best prices. Get in now. The flexible payment options and pricing is available for every budget, so you don't have to miss out. Visit jaguars.com/tickets, place your deposit, and be at the bank for every big play in 2023. And it's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on the Jaguars Digital Network.
You can step up to luxury now.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. Whatever you're driving, you can step up to luxury now. Plus, get our Fields amenities, which include complimentary loaners, car washes, and our cafes.
Make this your year to step up to luxury at Fields Cadillac, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, Land Rover, Jaguar, and Lexus. When it comes to the ultimate car buying experience, there's only one name that matters. Fields. And Fields matters because you matter. The Fields Auto Group, proud partners of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Thinking about your favorite whiskey or whiskey-based cocktail for this weekend's party or tailgate? Us too. While you're out shopping for supplies, don't forget to pick up a bottle of the 2022 Jaguars whiskey available at most local Jacksonville liquor stores. Not leaving the couch this weekend? No problem. You can also order a bottle online at citrusdistillersonline.com. Every bottle is made locally here in Duval.
It's the holiday savings event going on now at Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, get $300 off windows and $825 off patio doors. Plus no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Offer expires December 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. Call now. License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome back. Final moments of Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on this Wednesday, and we look outside to the Miller Electric Center. Construction continues. It is at a brisk pace. It will be ready for business next summer, ahead of training camp. And we'll be out on those fields for training camp, and fans will be in those stands to the left, the indoor facility in the back part of the shot there, and a nice sunset here in Jacksonville. What has turned out to be a nice week so far. Let's hope it's a nice weekend for the Jaguars as well. And it's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks, brought to you by Fields Auto Group Jacksonville. Step up to luxury, fieldsauto.com. JP Shadrick, John Ogier, Bucky Brooks. Let's get into this one. Of course, meaningful game in December is both ways. Let's start with the NFC playoff picture, and the Dallas Cowboys are certainly right there in the midst of that. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL this year right now, 12-1. They lead the way, of course. And then the Cowboys at 10-3 would be a wild card at the moment. Those two teams play each other next week, but the Cowboys are trying to get at least lined up for that big matchup with the Eagles in 2 weeks. Maybe they're looking ahead, Bucky. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. Coming off a struggle against the Houston Texans. And let's be honest, man, this team is a bit of an enigma, even though they're 10-3. They play up or down to the level of competition. And depending on if they're focused, you can catch them on an off day. The thing about this game, where the Cowboys are weak, it might not be necessarily Jaguars' strength. This is a Cowboys team that has struggled against the run, and the Jaguars are not necessarily a ground and pound team. Now, that doesn't mean that Doug Pederson won't switch it up and try and probe the defense with runs to Travis Etienne. It just means that it's not necessarily what the Jaguars want to do naturally. And then on the other side, the offense that the Cowboys play, man, when they run it at you, it sets up play action passes. It sets up big stuff. It forces you to play man-to-man because you got to deal with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. And it's been a dilemma that we've talked about the entire show. What is Mike Caldwell going to do? Because the way that you have to play may not work with who you have to play. And so there's some tough decisions that he's going to have to make game planning.
Yeah, I think the big storylines are if the Jaguars can get turnovers, which, of course, if they get turnovers, but against this team, they've shown it all year. When this team gets turnovers, it feels like a defense that can at least hold its own in most games. And I don't think they're going to run against the Cowboys, 33 times for 3.8 yards and get to 120. But if they can get back to what they were doing for the first part of the season, which is Travis Etienne popping one or two, I don't think they're going to control clock in the first three quarters. But if he can have some of those runs that he was the best in the league at for a while, then I think they can run effectively, pop one, and I've got to think that's what they're trying to figure out down there right now, how to get Travis loose 2 and 3 times and establish that momentum, big play, that energy in the crowd. Because unlike Bucky, who doesn't believe in these fans here, I think the Jaguars fans are going to show. I think it's going to be no matter how many the star brings, the star on the helmets bring, I think this Jaguars fan base is going to be ready for this game, and I think they're going to blow the Dallas fans out.
Wow.
John,
wow, Bucky.
I just heard what I heard. I mean,
John, I am Duval till I die. I get it. I love it, all that. However, I also know, in sitting in that stadium, I've seen a lot of opposing teams' colors dot the stadium. And I also know how the Cowboys travel. And there's a lot of little closet Cowboys fans in Florida that are waiting for the opportunity to see their favorite team. And so I would like to send all those guys home with their little smiles upside down with little frown faces and all that. But I know they're going to be in the building. My hope is that we rise up, we find a way to get a win, and all those guys can mope out of the stadium with their heads down and their little cowboy hats tucked between their legs.
Another reason why it should be Jaguar heavy this Sunday is because the Jaguars are on the graphic, the AFC playoff picture. Yes, there they are in the hunt. They've got some work to do. But they are on the graphic. Of course, the way in is to win the division, though. So they got to overtake Tennessee. As long as they're within a game, obviously, going into the last game of the season, a win would be a tie. They would have the tiebreaker over Tennessee. But a lot of business to attend to between now and then.
Yeah, the other way in, though, they've got to win over the Chargers. They still play the Jets.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to make it as a wild card, but you could see things shake out weird where at the end
they've got the tiebreaker over the Chargers.
Yeah,
right.
So I doubt that. But the key is, to me, they've got a shot at it no matter what happens Sunday. Win Sunday, then I think they have a real shot at it. Even if they don't, if the Titans also lose,
well, they're playing the Chargers,
and they're playing the Chargers, then I think it still shakes out to where the Titans still have to go to or still have to play host to Dallas, and the Jags go up and play the Jets. It can still shake out well. It's not over Sunday, but if they win Sunday, man, I mean, it's if they win Sunday, then I think people believe.
Sounds like
now you've got 3 quality wins in a month.
It almost sounds like a backdoor guarantee that you're kind of putting out there. Doesn't it kind of sound like?
I'm not going to pick.
Are you going to lock it,
Sounds
John?
like it.
This is a Monday night thing. We usually lock, don't lock. Tony locked the playoffs on Monday. I don't know, John, if you're ready for that.
I'm not going to lock the playoffs. So I'm certainly not going to lock Sunday because I don't think they'll win because I think Dallas is really good in playing for something, getting ready for the Eagles. I'm not sure they're ready to beat a 12-win team yet. But I don't think remotely that the cause is lost as long as Tennessee loses too. So
all right,
it's true.
So now, John, you're in the building. You're gonna have Trevor all mad at you because he hears everything. He's listening to the Huddle Up podcast on the way home, and he hears you doubt that the guys in teal can get a win. It might be Frosty in the building. Might be Frosty in the building when he comes on the Ozone podcast. I'm just saying we may not be able to help you kind of defrost that relationship a little bit because you're over there doubting number 16 and the magical power that he brings to the table each week.
Hey, T-Law knows where to find the Ozone. Put it that way. He knows where I am.
It'll be a battle of titans, that's for sure. Bucky, have a great week. We'll talk to you this weekend. We'll see you for the holiday party. We got a little thing going on Friday night. Excited.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for that. I'm ready. I've been practicing. I'm up all night practicing, getting my swing right. I'm ready.
Can't wait to see it. Bucky Brooks from Los Angeles. That's John Ogier. You too, John, by the way. I guess I see you every day, but I guess I'm looking forward to seeing you Friday also.
Yeah, might be there, might not. I got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. Joe Fortunato on the audio, Britt Reber, and others on the video. Thank you for watching. I'm JP Shadrick. It's Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks on the Jaguars.